Hey Lauren, I thought it'd be better rather than me writing your news story for you. I thought it'd be better for us to have a chat. That way you can actually question question me in more detail when you hear the answers I give you. I think it's probably quite an important part of journalism. So what I'm going to do is answer your questions in this video, and then you can watch the video and take notes and what have you. I think it might work better. Plus, I can't be bothered writing the answers for you. So I've got your message in front of me. I'll go through them one by one. My name is Philip Alderson. I'm 44 years old. I live on the Wirral with Claire and Evie. Evie is 7. You probably already know the story that I was playing with Evie. I was lying on the sofa having a lazy Sunday afternoon, and was play fighting with Evie, and she elbowed me right in the chest. And at the time, it kind of didn't. It hurt, but I didn't think anything of it. And then that night, I was still lying on the sofa. I was scratching my side, and then I thought, hold on a minute, I found a very small lump on the left hand side of my left nipple. It was big enough to make me wonder what it was. It's very, very small, and to be honest with you, nothing even popped into my mind about what it might be, or yeah, I just thought get it checked out. So 8:30 next morning, got a doctor's appointment, and I think I was in the GP's at about 9:15. I think I told Claire I can't even remember, my back was aching or something like that. I made up some story to Claire, didn't tell Claire. The GP was a locum GP, so not the usual doctor that I would see. And yeah, she examined me and kind of like tugged at this little lump. I think she was trying to work out what it was, so she didn't know. I think, thinking back now, she was really interested in exactly where it was, actually on the nipple. So she said, look, I'll get it checked out. You'll get a phone call. Well, basically, you'll get fast tracked into the NHS screening program, so you'll be seen within 2 weeks. Again, I wasn't really worried. I just thought it was going to be a formality. So I got a phone call 2 days later from the GP surgery from the one of the secretaries saying they were trying to get me an appointment at the Wirral breast unit, and if I hadn't had a phone call by the next day, to give them a call back, and they were going to chase up for me. So they were being super efficient. I now obviously realise that this is a standard NHS kind of like timeline for anyone with a lump in the breast, male or female. You're basically seen within 2 weeks of getting the referral. The next day, the Thursday, so it was Sunday I found the lump, Monday went to GP's, Thursday I got a phone call from the Wirral breast unit in Clatterbridge, and they said come in the following Thursday. That weekend we went away to Centre Parks, and I'd told Claire, then I said, look, I found a lump and I'm going in next week to get it eliminated, checked out, whatever. So yeah, wasn't worried. Kind of, I knew in the letter they'd already prepared me and said you're going to be waiting a long time, so bring a book or whatever it is that you want to do. So I took my book with me on the Thursday morning, drove up on my own, went and got a coffee, sat in the ward, in the waiting room of the clinic for I think it was about. In fact, I remember looking at the clock. It was 17 minutes past 10. At this point, obviously, everything was fine. Consultant came in, said, blah, 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 take your top off, let's have a look. He then examined my lymph nodes, rib cage, armpits, testicles, the whole bit. Even he seemed a little bit confused as to what it was. So he said, right, well, look, you're going to be seen by the person on the ultrasound and get a mammogram. So again, I waited probably another hour, went in for an ultrasound, which was pretty painful because it was so close to the nipple. They were trying to get the gel and the little machine in close. So that hurt. And then they said they were going to take a biopsy. So they said, look, this is going to be really, really noisy. Gave me a local anaesthetic. I think it was 2 injections at the time. And then whatever they used, it was so painful. It basically took 2 slices, one from the lump and one from my kind of like near my armpit. I had my eyes shut. I was crying because it was so painful, even though I'd had an anaesthetic. And I noticed that my chest was feeling cold. When I opened my eyes, I was covered in blood. The biopsy, it kind of like bled really, really badly. So it was kind of a bit of a mess, like in my gown after the ultrasound, and then they said, right, straight over the corridor and go and get a mammogram. So I was like, oh no, this is going to be even worse, because obviously with women, obviously the breast goes in the machine, they squeeze, and I thought, well, I've got nothing to squeeze, kind of thing. But actually, it was okay. The one was really nice, and I covered the machine in blood, and yeah, she was like, get changed. She kind of like put a new plaster on the biopsy wound, and so go and wait in the waiting room, and waited another. I think then I had to wait about an hour and a half. Went in to see the consultant, and he didn't even. Yeah, he was just like, yeah. So basically, we think it's cancer, which was a massive shock, and the only thing I could think of is, what was I supposed to think of when you get that news? And the only thing I can remember doing was I was looking at the date on the form, because obviously they confirm all your details that you know that they're actually talking to the right person. And and I had the date at the top of that form, and that was it. That was kind of like the thing I was like looking at as he was telling me. I didn't get upset immediately, but obviously I did get upset. Then I realised there was a lady had come in behind the consultant, was at the back of the room, and she turned out to be a Macmillan nurse who I've spoken to pretty much every week since then. Consultant then left. Well, basically he said we're gonna take the biopsy, get the results, and let you know whether it is one way or another. So he left. Macmillan nurse stepped in, said was all caring and was like more, obviously, like supposed to be like more emotional support. When you've had this news, whereas the consultant was more matter of fact. Here's what you've got, here's what we'll need to do. So the Macmillan nurse made me a cup of tea, and then we kind of like spoke for half an hour or something like that. And she was like, oh, do you want me to ring anyone? Do you want me to kind of like get someone to come and get you? And I must admit, there was a point where, and this is just me, we were just going around in circles, and I just said, look, I think I want to leave now. So I basically, I don't know, weirdly, I drove to Bromborough, to the shops, don't even know why. Well, actually, do I know why? I ended up I ended up going into Frankie and Benny's and bought myself a Jack Daniels, and just sat there and took a photo of myself to remind myself what I looked like once I'd been told I had cancer. Not a particularly good photo, it wasn't. Skip forward 2 weeks, 4th of August, night before. Bloody scary. Like, to be, I think once you're in the middle of something, you kind of like you're more in deal with it mode, whereas the night before I didn't know one way or another whether I had cancer or not. So yeah, I was feeling pretty scared, because basically I just didn't know what was going to happen, what to expect, whether I was going to need any treatment, whether I was going to even survive. Again, not that I'm saying I rely on alcohol all the time, because I like to think I'm not an alcoholic. But I left the house, went for a walk that night to kind of like clear my hair, not my hair, my head. To clear my head, and I thought, actually I want to just sit in the sun, get a drink and sit in the sun. So I walked to Greasby and got a drink. I mean, at this point, we were getting all messages on Facebook saying, positive thoughts and thinking of you and all this kind of stuff, and all, the generic messages, which are nice to receive, but in reality don't really amount to much. I'm kind of like making this, not that I was going to do anything, but I actually ended up ringing the Samaritans, because I know, I felt like I needed to speak to somebody that didn't know me. So I sat in front of the pub, sat in the sun, talking to the lady on the Samaritan's phone line, and actually she was quite good. She was very or she kind of obviously listened to the story I told her, and she was quite pragmatic about the whole situation, saying, well, look, tomorrow is just the start of another journey. And the only way to find out what that journey is going to be is to go tomorrow, get the results, and then start dealing with it. So that actually kind of helped. So it's about 9 o'clock on the 4th of August, 9 o'clock at night. And I put a post on Facebook about the Be Brave t-shirts. I thought I wanted to do something, so I actually walked to Sainsbury's in Upton, and I bought a t-shirt. Yeah, I bought a blank t-shirt for like £3 or something. Bought 2 laundry pans, and and then walked home. I think I bought some other bits as well. I went to the Shell garage, got myself a coffee, so I was like, I had a nice coffee on the way home. Got home and I was like, right, okay, I'm gonna basically the t-shirts are gonna take another 2 weeks to be delivered. So, and I know your dad's got one. They're going to take another 2 weeks to be delivered. So I actually just got a blank t-shirt, printed off the this design, and in outline form, and then traced it onto the t-shirt, and then drew it on with laundry pen. So basically, I could wear my Be Brave t-shirt at the hospital the next day. That took me about an hour and a half to kind of like make the design. Now I know I'm looking at your notes. You don't really focus much on getting the results, which is what I'm doing now. So you can skip this bit if you want. What was it like going to the breast cancer ward? Well, again, like, I don't know. Weirdly, it was quite reassuring that it was kind of being dealt with. So I wasn't overly worried. I wasn't anxious. I was actually taking my heart rate during the whole process. It's a very noisy plane. I was taking my heart rate, so I can actually tell you what my heart rate was on the 5th. Excuse me. Heart rate, August. The one we're talking about, it was the 30th. That's not right. This is weird. Some of the stuff's missing. Didn't take my heart rate at all. It's really thrown me. That's weird. I could have sworn I was taking my heart rate. That's really confused me. On the day before, it was low at 52 beats per minute. The day after, it was a little higher. So weird. So I have to cut that bit out. What was it like going into the breast cancer ward? It was fine. Super efficient NHS. I think I've just started to think in a particular way, which was get there and whatever they want to do, let them do it. So I wasn't questioning anything. I was just going along with everything that he said, all the suggestions. I don't even know. Obviously I was quite conscious that I was male going into a mainly female environment. But yeah, no, they were really, really nice. I don't know what else to say. I mean, it kind of like obviously started filling out forms. The anaesthetist came around and had a chat with me, and I was told them about my mum had had a heart attack while under general anaesthetic 50 years ago. Whether that was an issue, I don't know, because I'd never had an operation before. So I then spent about an hour and a half walking to the oncology centre in Clatterbridge, and then back up, and then back to the to the surgical ward to get the isotope injection, because what had happened was on the 30th of August, or rather the 29th of August, was a bank holiday. So normally you would go in the day before and get injected with a radioactive isotope, so they could trace the kind of like the blood flow from the breast to the armpit. They could trace where that was entering the lymph nodes in the armpit. So you would have a radioactive isotope the day before, so it kind of got into your system, and then I'm guessing it stops in your armpit, and then they know which lymph node to take out. But I had to have that in the morning. So apart from the fact that hadn't eaten anything from midnight, because obviously I was having an operation, so I hadn't eaten anything. Was walking backwards and forwards to the oncology department to get this injection, and then it turned up late. In fact, it turned up at 10:37 because we were waiting in the waiting room. I had to walk up with this other lady, and it didn't feel of anything. It was like a very small injection right in my chest. Felt fine. Lady was lovely who did it. Walked back, and then basically it was about 11 o'clock, and then like I was just swept along then. So I thought I was having an operation at 4 o'clock, and in actual fact I was putting surgical stockings on and getting into the gown at, it was 11:30, and then 12 o'clock I was on the trolley going into theatre. there was no time. I took a book. I think I read about 5 pages, if that.